Alright, I'm gonna talk a little bit about my pedalboard and what's going on with this one right now. And I have a lot of things I can do with this. I think I'll explain three different things that I could do with this pedalboard because it has an amp and a speaker emulation. And I'll show the signal chain soon. But first of all, I could do quiet practicing with this. So if I wanted to, I could take, and for this I would have to use a splitter cable, but I could just attach my headphones straight into the last pedal in the chain. And then my sounds would be coming into my headphones. Then I actually also, and how this is set up, I can run this into my amp as well. I can do that. And at the same time, also run this into my audio interface and then set it up in my DAW, which gives me a hybrid setup I'll get into in a bit. And then on that hybrid setup, I can do a wet dry wet rig. And also I also have a DI box here. So example, what you could do with this is if you want to give online guitar lessons, Discord lets you use the first two inputs of your audio interface. So that would mean you could run your guitar into one and then your microphone into one. But let's check the signal chain. I'll show you that. Then we'll get to the DAW also, and I'll explain what you're hearing and what kind of routing I'm doing. First of all, I got this pedal here. Works as a mute, basically. But I have two signals going into that one. So I actually have a cable on my electronics table where I build pedals and whatnot. So when I want to test them out, I have a cable running in there. And then I can choose if I'm having that signal from there running into this pedal board and into my DAW, so digital audio workstation, or something else. And then I can switch also to the guitar I have on my lap right now. It also works as mute. Then I'm going into the DI box. So this one, I haven't hooked that up to my DAW. I could. So that would give me the clean signal before I hit all the pedals on the board. From there, I go into this one. And this also works as a mute. It splits the signal into all the pedals and then to this tuner that's always on. And so we can hear it works as a mute basically, and then also splits my signal into the tuner. After that, we're going into a compressor, which I actually always have on because I like clean up my signal with a compressor. And I've made a video about this. I'll put the card, you can check that video. So I can clean up my sound with my guitar's volume knob, and it's still and so I can still hear it, because without the compressor, if I turn my volume on my guitar down, so you can hear the difference. And I like to so that's how I use the compressor. It's basically always on. And for my lead sounds or whatever I want to do, it also adds a little bit of sustain that I like. Then we're going into a flanger over here. Then we get to the high gain section. So I have a rat, a modified rat. I've made a video about this. It has a few mods. I'm not gonna show them right now, but yeah, then I... That's a bit too much reverb, so let's take a little bit of that off. So that's the rat. And then, of course, we got a tube screamer. And then we have our amp with a boost built in there. And then we get the good stuff. So the speaker emulation that makes this all possible. So as my amp, we're hearing those. And then after that, after this section, so if you build a setup like this, put your drives and whatnot first, and then I got my delay. And then lastly, the reverb, which of course is a stereo pedal, so that's how I'm splitting my signal. Now we get the good stuff. So I'm actually going into my Joyo amp. I'll try to have a picture here. And from the Joyo, I'm running my signal into my isolation box that has a speaker in there, and it's mic'd up with 2 mics. There we go. So now we are inside my DAW. Of course, I'm not gonna wanna run the preamp and speaker emulation to my actual amp. That would just mess things up. So I wanna disengage those. But right now, we are hearing those in this channel track. Well, track 3, but it's in between here. But I'm going to disengage those. And now we basically have the clean signal without any amplifier going on, just through the compressor, delay and reverb. Yeah, so there you go, you can hear it. And what I've done, of course, is I got my signal going into my audio interface, like I said, input 1. So that's one of the outputs on this reverb pedal. And then I have Amplitube here. There we go. Just your stock Marshall JCM 800 with the noise gate. I'm going to turn that on. And then we got this sound going. And it seems like I'm a little out of tune. Let's turn that a bit up. The reverb was a bit much, so we can actually put this in bus 1, where we have some CLA Epic stereo right there. And then, yeah. So now we have our like hybrid setup going. I'm using the pedals with the Amplitube amp, and then I got some plugins, VST plugins here going on. Let's turn on the inserts on the bus channel, and we can hear phaser. There we go, that's really nice. Let's turn out the output just a little bit down. Alright, and then we're gonna engage. So the other output from this pedal, the reverb pedal, is going into my actual Joyo amp. And it's on the clean setting now, so let's take off the Amplitube and let's hear the mic'd up sound of the Joyo. And this is clean sound. Oh, I'm gonna take those gates off. There we go. And then I'm gonna engage the overdrive. I'm gonna bring the volume up on those little. So there, we got our Joyo. I'm gonna take the phaser off for a moment. And then I'm gonna engage the Amplitube as well. So now we have 3 amps basically running. There we go. let's so now we can hear that we need a noise gate on this board. But yeah, there we have a hybrid setup, I'd say. And then we got all the good stuff from the DAW and plugins that you can add. And these, the amp and the Amplitube are all running into a bus that has the phaser on there. And then on the bus, as I said, we got the CLA Epic stereo. So that gives us our delay and reverb. And then it's all going into our master bus. And I do actually have something here as well. So if I want, I can have a little bit of compression going on. So we can hear that. It's not doing much really. But yeah, you can have that sort of stuff going on too. So yeah, this kind of pedal board gives me all sorts of options. And like I said, for giving online lessons and getting because I've tried out everything and trying to get the digital amps from my DAW and routing my DAW in the Discord or any other voice, call thing. It's just been a huge pain in the ass. And this has worked much better. So, and that's why I said that even cheap multi-effects unit that has the amplifier and speaker emulation would do the trick just fine if you're, getting in that sort of thing. And I'll make another video about the Discord, how do you set it up, and then you can try it out with friends or whatnot. And my Joyo amp, the speaker is mic'd up with 2 mics, and I have panned them left and right, as you can see here, channel track 1 and track 2 here. And that gives me the cool sounding stereo, well, I'd say wet, try, wet setup, but it's actually the Amplitube amp also is going through this bus right now. But we could just put it on main straight, and then it would give me the wet, try, wet. So you can hear the difference there. So yeah, there we go. Basically everything you need on a simple little board. Good for quiet practicing. Good for running into your DAW and, not having to mess with any of the digital stuff if you don't want to. And then third thing, good for doing a cool hybrid setup using your real amp, digital amps together, crafting your sound like that. But if you have any questions, comments about that, or you want to know about these pedals or the routing and whatnot, let me know and ask in the comments. And next time I'll be covering something else. All right, I'm off. Have fun.